everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today's perfume review time. And boy, what a perfume, because I'm so thrilled. I mean, it took me ages. Granted, it was released in January 2014, but still, it took me ages to really fall in love or to understand and appreciate the beauty of Fahrenheit. However, this is Fahrenheit perfume. So it's the Parfum. Let's move in as close as possible here. So it's Fahrenheit Parfum by Christian Dior. 75 milliliter spray, the only one produced, the only size produced of the pure perfume. This is how the bottle looks like. So the Fahrenheit Dior de Toilette, the original, is, as many say, yes, it has the gasoline-y touch. It has all of that going on in it. It's difficult to love, or it's super easy to love. People hate it or love it. There's very, very, very few people that are right in between the love and the hate. People react to it always. I never could understand fully or fall in love fully with Fahrenheit until some time ago, and also thanks to the pure perfume, because it's the pure perfume that made me kind of rediscover the Eau de Toilette. But anyway, I guess one day I'll make a review of the Eau de Toilette. But for now, the one that I like the most of the entire range, and I've tried really all of them from the Cologne to the 32, the Absolute, but the one I love the most is the Parfum. It's so mesmerizing. And the awkward thing is, the more I use it, and the more, so it took me basically almost, well, yeah, 15, 16, almost 3 years. Basically, I got this one somewhere in November of last year, and it took me over 2 years to really discover it. It's beauty, and it's incredible. So you take the stopper off here, not at the bottom like the Eau de Toilette would be. Let's spray it on, and here as well. Oh my God. I don't know what the... Listen, François Demachim is the nose. Of course, he's the head perfumer for Christian Dior. He's the nose behind the Parfum of Fahrenheit, not the nose behind the Eau de Toilette, which he tackled with and reformulated. So, in a way, his reformulation is... His nose is behind the reformulation of the Eau de Toilette, but the Parfum is basically his. And it's one of the best jobs. Actually, I have to say, for men, it's the best job he did for Dior. The best fragrance he did for Dior within the mainstream releases. This is the one. Granted, you know, for men, fragrances for me are unisex. They're genderless. You got to wear what you like to wear. A lot of women love Fahrenheit. So it's definitely, first of all, Fahrenheit doesn't have Pour Homme written anywhere on the packaging. There is no Pour Homme written on the box, nor is there a Pour Homme written on the bottle. And that is very good, Dior. You've done very, very well in that respect as well. The color of the bottle really represents what a Fahrenheit is. You have that coolness, that transparent glass that kind of fades into like orange, red hues, then lava, and then black. And that is what Fahrenheit, the pure perfume, gives us. It gives us, let's focus it. It gives us that cool opening that the regular, the first, let's say, Eau de Toilette version would give us. It has a coolness to it. And it has an interesting coolness to it because, you know, leather is usually warm, but this one has suede. So suede is the ingredient that opens this majestic fragrance. And then we're going to go through all different facets until we hit that bourbon vanilla in the bottom that kind of catapults us back to the beginning again. And it kind of circulates everything and warms it up and heats it up and combines all the ingredients, blends the ingredients very well together. So let's go through the notes together, shall we? So we have suede in the top notes, Sicilian mandarin, and licorice. Middle notes, cumin, coriander, rum, a violet leaf. Base note is the bourbon vanilla. I've said this in reviews before, and I'm going to say it again. to me, a good fragrance, to my nose, for some other people, it's a totally different situation. But to my nose, a good fragrance is a fragrance where the bottom notes, the dry down, is amazing. If the dry down really kind of gets me to kind of sniff my skin over and over and over again, that's a winner to me. Many fragrances do not have a good dry down. They're a mess in the dry down, including the Les Exclusifs by Chanel in eau de parfum form. That dry down, you don't want to smell it. I mean, sure, if you're not really an expert, you might not notice, but it's super annoying. The dry down of the eau de parfums is a mess. If you can, hunt down the eau de toilettes. Anyway, back to Fahrenheit Parfum. You have a citrusy tone in the opening, but you have the leather. And those two combined, it's weird. It already kind of there is no slow going into this fragrance. You're on a roller coaster ride from the first second you put it on, and you are literally banged between cold and warm, actually, because, the citrusy notes of it are very cooling, but the leather is kind of warm. But the leather combined with the citrus fruit, with the mandarin in this case, gives it that warm, cold aspect. And again, so here we have this kind of coloring, the grading of the colors. Then as we go into the middle notes, what is super interesting is the rum with the violet leaf, because that's another juxtaposition, another contrasting kind of configuration of ingredients, because the violet, and we know the strongest violet I've smelled in mainstream perfumery or in famous brands perfumery is MISIA's. The violet in MISIA, it literally smells like a violet candy would taste. This one doesn't have that intense violety smell, but in fact, they don't state that it's the violet flower, they state it's the violet leaf. Whether or not that gives it more of a green touch could be. In fact, the mid notes of Fahrenheit are very green. There's a slight reminiscence, and this really, guys, depends on what you're wearing while you're wearing Fahrenheit. This sounds super crazy, but I'm wearing, for the occasion, I'm going, told you 2017 is vintage and used and secondhand. D&G Dolce Gabbana 1995 fall winter. This is a crazy jacket. Let me show you, because it has, the sleeves are different from the rest of the jacket. This is a bouclé, like a tweedy bouclé, and the sleeves are in a darker shade of gray and green. So they're very mossy. I chose this particular jacket for the occasion because it has that mossy green touch, but it's very warm at the same time, just like Fahrenheit is. So as I was saying, when you combine it with a certain material, in this case with wool, and wool is a natural, I mean, it's hair. It's hair of sheep, basically. You tickle out a different aspect of it. Right now, combined with wool, because there's also, wool has a smell as well, it's slightly reminiscent, and a lot of you are going to go like, ew, what the hell, of shiitake. Oh my God, I always remember Catherine Tate. She did a skit on TV about shiitake mushrooms, and then she said, can you believe it? We went eating, and they gave us shit ache mushrooms. Anyway, whatever. I'm super bad at this. But, okay, back to the perfume review. The shit ache mushrooms. It has a slight reminiscence of shiitake mushrooms in the best of ways. Mind you, I love shiitake mushrooms. I hate mushrooms in general. I'm super afraid of mushrooms. But the taste of the shiitake mushroom is super amazing to me. Even though I don't eat them because I don't like consistency of mushrooms, but I love that taste. So if it were possible to artificially reinterpret that taste, it would be kind of Fahrenheit mixed with wool, but just in the smell. Slight hint of it. But that is there in a way representing not a mushroom, but representing humidity. It gives you that soily, earthy feel. And that soily, earthy feel is often reminiscent of some sort of mushroom. And the violet leaf, perhaps here kind of, instead of, digging it underground, it kind of brings it up again and layers it rather on the surface of earth rather than deep down inside of the soil, as would be the case with a vetiver kind of smell that you would encounter in one of my favorite vetiver fragrances, Sycamore by Chanel. Eau de toilette only, not eau de parfum. What else is there? The rum, I don't really sense it out now because these fragrances have alcohol in them. They're alcoholic anyway. So the alcohol is there from the beginning to the end. But is there some sort of like sweet, rummy feel or touch to it? Not really. Not to me. But maybe I don't sense it that much because of the vanilla, because the vanilla is already kicking in, and it's kicking in from the beginning. It warms everything up. It warms even the cooler ingredients from the beginning, really. Coriander, yeah, I can sense the coriander quite a bit because now the coriander seed, but you know, coriander is also a plant. You could also eat the leaves of the coriander. This one, it's definitely more that dry, seedy type of coriander rather than it being a leafy coriander, if you may. And coriander has, it usually makes me feel like, if I smell the seeds, peppery almost. The plant, totally different. Coriander is coriander. A lot of people don't like coriander. They would say coriander reminds them of soap, of bath soaps. A lot of friends of mine do not like to eat coriander with their meals because it reminds them of soap. To me, it doesn't. To me, coriander is something very specific. It's its own smell. It's its own ingredient. And it's its own taste as well. But in this case, what it does the most to me is dry it down together with the suede. But the coriander is also like something that kind of is there to dry down this fragrance. And when we start kind of kicking the base, when we start kicking that vanilla, that's when, and again, really, you could sense it from the beginning, but when it really starts kicking in, like the fact that, okay, this is about the vanilla, this is about the bourbon vanilla that is putting all these puzzle pieces that were very abstract in the original Fahrenheit, in the Eau de Toilette, you know, there's this abstraction of all of these puzzle pieces that made it also so magical. The vanilla was like the key that was missing, that is now there, that kind of puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. The puzzle pieces are still detachable. You can still detach them and recreate your abstract fragrance, but however, within this scent, that vanilla is like a glue that kind of melts and blends between all the ingredients and puts them all together. And that is the magic here. And that's why the dry down, and I say a good perfume has a good dry down, this one has a good dry down, because when all those pieces kind of just click together all at once, you're in heaven, literally. It's so majestic. And it keeps me guessing because depending on, again, what I wear, what mood I'm in, how hot it is, how cold it is, it always smells slightly different. There's no repetition. It's not the type of fragrance like, you know, as much as I love the iconic, you know, idea or idealism of the unisex fragrance of CK1, it always smells the same. It doesn't change. It doesn't change no matter who wears it, really. This one is very, very different from day to day. You never get tired of it. You never get bored of it. However, though, a lot of reviewers have stated that it is very powerful, very potent, very strong, stronger than the Eau de Toilette. That is already very strong, although the new Eau de Toilette is supposed to be allegedly watered down considerably compared to the original Eau de Toilette pre-reformulation. I have to disagree. I have tried several times, you know, Eau de Toilette one arm, Parfum on the other. The Eau de Toilette always lasts longer time-wise on my skin than the Parfum does. Maybe because my nose is more used to the type of ingredients and the type of combination of ingredients that are done in here. So I tend to sense it less and I get used to it quicker, so I don't smell it out. After a certain time, the Eau de Toilette to me is still extremely aggressive and very different from everything else that's out there. So perhaps it's just my nose that smells the presence of the fragrance longer in time on my skin. But I would have to say, taking that aside, I would have to say that to me, the Eau de Toilette has a longer longevity or bigger longevity than the parfum. Projection as well. The projection is more aggressive, more instinctive, more animalesque, if you want. The parfum is noble. It's elegant. It's not so much in your face. It's intense enough to be present, but it is noble enough to kind of stand aside, you know, to be there if questioned and needed, and if there were a purpose for it, it would be there. It doesn't just yell, despite the fact that you want it or not, it doesn't just yell into your face, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. It's so well blended and toned that it is a parfum. And you know, I always say about parfums, the really good parfums are not necessarily more powerful or strong than the eau de toilette or the other parfums. They just have more noble ingredients in them. They're more selective. And biggest example is Chanel No. 5. Chanel No. 5, the pure parfum, does not scream in your face. It's not as aggressive and tacky, if you may. As much as I love the eau de parfum of Chanel No. 5, it's tacky in a way. You know, blingy, very gold. The pure parfum is not. And it's going to, sure, the opening note, the aldehydes are going to burst like bubbles of champagne into your nose. But then a couple of seconds later, it's going to evaporate. And then what you're going to be left with is a very, very expensive, luxuriously smelling, but close to the skin, slight sillage, perfume, fragrance, which is totally different from the eau de parfum or the eau de toilette. Similar thing happens here. It will not scream into your face. It's not going to dominate you in a way that you won't have a chance really to do anything but to just like wear it and hope that people around you don't faint and suffocate. No, that's not going to happen with this one. In fact, you can wear it to the office, at work, you could wear it outside, out and about, you know, subway, bicycle, car, at home, whatever. I use it throughout the entire day. I like to start the day with this one. It also gives me a good kick. It's like a sort of a coffee. There's no caffeine in there, nothing, and I mean, I don't really drink it, but the smell of it really makes me feel pleasantly warm. Something to notice, some fragrances to me, I really don't like to use them early in the morning because I wake up hungry usually. And a lot of fragrances just do not go well with that feeling of hunger because they accentuate it or it just makes you feel nauseous. This one doesn't make me feel nauseous. It kind of, I could wear it even if I'm hungry, if that makes any sense to you. To me, it makes a lot of sense because it's very rare for me to find a fragrance that I could just put on in the morning if I, you know, skip breakfast. And I usually do skip breakfast. I'm not really a breakfast person. I'm more of a dinner person. But the trip it takes me on, yeah, God, what time are we? It's so trippy. It literally, I mean, it's supposed to be reminiscent of, you know, volcanoes and heat and something. To me, it's not. To me, it's super futuristic. It's from another planet. I literally have the feeling that I'm in a Star Wars movie, if you may, and I'm not in the Mustafar system. There is no volcanic planet here. It's more of a Blade Runner scenario. It's that type of cool city scenario from the future where there's a lot of steam, there's a lot of iron, a lot of metal, a lot of acid rain, and a lot of bleached blonde robots walking around. All kind of programmed within themselves to already smell of Fahrenheit. You know, I literally have a feeling it's a robotic smell of some sort of futuristic robot that has kind of to the tactile senses skin as if we do, but from within its core it emanates this fragrance too. So to me, kind of the Blade Runner robot would smell of Fahrenheit. There you have it. And it gives me that mechanical feeling. Every time I wear it, I feel timeless in a way because, you know, robots don't really age, do they? You don't feel like you're younger or you're older. However, and this is probably perhaps why it took me so much to really be able to appreciate the beauty of Fahrenheit. You know, when I was in my teens, it was impossible to appreciate this one. It was literally so aggressive and so grown up. I couldn't come close to it. Now, with the parfum, I was capable of unlocking that mystery, that olfactive mystery to me, which was always Fahrenheit. Demachy really managed with the pure parfum to to glue together all the pieces and make it clear to me what Fahrenheit really is. And in fact, it is the parfum that made me love the eau de toilette. And the amazing aspect of it is, as I was mentioning this robot before, it's as if the skin of, let's turn the bottle this way, the skin of the robot is like, you know, this cool kind of transparent shade. It's just a skin tone. There's no warmth to it. To the touch, the robot is cold. But it's that smell that gives it the warmth. So as we come closer to the robot and as closer we get to its smell, the more kind of this shade changes from this transparent color all the way to, you know, from orange to red to flaming red, hot heat, and then burnt. It's the illusion of warmth that is the magic of Fahrenheit. That's exactly it. It's an illusion of warmth. And that is rare. There are not many, if any at all, fragrances out there that can give you an objective and conscious, mind you, very important word in this case is the conscious illusion of warmth. That is something that is magical within Fahrenheit for Dior. And that is something that I've only ever smelled with Fahrenheit. The conscious illusion of warmth that the perfumer creates in a fragrance and then delivers to us. That's why it's also so robotic and futuristic to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope still and forever will that you like this review. Please do thumb it up if you liked it. Let me know what you think in the description box down below about this fragrance and others. And wishes for future reviews, perhaps. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Don't forget, no matter what robots you encounter, smile at them with love and show them that we never give up on love. So shouldn't they? So shan't they? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Love you. See you soon. Bye.